You told me before we came on air that there are some myths about pulmonary rehab. What are those?
Well, pulmonary rehab and breathing, there is that myth that, say for example, someone's walked in front of you, they've sat down and they are out of breath. The classic thing most people say is, oh, slow your breath down, or take some deep breaths. That's going to solve the problem. Am I correct? Is that the first thing you would think of? That's the total wrong thing to say. And unless... Because they're already panicked. They're already sort of quite in a state themselves. And from a physiological point of view, taking in more oxygen is not actually going to solve the problem, because the problem with their breathlessness, people assume it's they need more oxygen, they need bigger breaths. What they actually are struggling with is the CO2 is not leaving their body. Mm-hmm. So it's not the oxygen they need more of that. That's probably quite abundance of it, but if the CO2 is not leaving the body, so you know when gas exchange happens at the alveoli, so I'll show you
yeah, Justin will bring up the alveoli in a second, don't worry.
So
you might need to click back to them now. Let's see what happens. There we go.
So that's the alveoli. So gas exchanges, so this is a healthy one. Gas exchange is happening there. Now, for example, in emphysema, the alveoli, which is those sacs there, they will expand on inspiration, but they may not recoil. Whereas in me and you, it expands and then it recoils. And when it recoils and expands, that's when oxygen goes in and CO2 comes out. When it's not functioning well and it expands but doesn't come back, or worst case, in real bad sort of cases of emphysema, is the alveoli stick together. And when they stick together, well, then nothing's going to happen there. And that's when the lung cells start to die, unfortunately. So if the CO2, the gas exchange is not efficient, the CO2 is not coming out, giving them more oxygen is not going to solve the problem. So those are two myths where they have to sort of slow their breathing down, and deeper breaths is not sort of the right answer, A, from a panic point of view, and B, from a physiological point of view. What I would recommend is actually getting them to ask them to steady their breath, normalize their breath. Some of my clients actually find closing their eyes actually more useful. So when it comes to breathing, it is taking it in through the nose, and it's actually having pursed lips. So rather than having their mouth wide open, if they can keep their mouth closed with a slight slit, it's actually more efficient in getting what they need out.
Well, you are preaching along the lines of a very, very, very famous, now deceased osteopath, Leon Chater, who taught about pursed lips breathing.
Yes.
And for the techniques he was talking about, he talked in terms of breathing of a volume as though you were blowing out a candle gently.
Yes, very, very gently.
Yeah.
So,
and if anybody wants it, that video is on the website. It will be in the recordings soon when we get all the recordings transferred to the new site. Look up Leon Chater.
Wonderful. There you go. You got some reference there. But that's what you would encourage.
We are in good company. Leon Chater and Kam Saggu both together.
Oh, wonderful. I feel privileged.